mean, I think Team Sweden either have the prowess to dominate or struggle if Team Turkey are bringing the heat this time around.
I think it's going to be a 2-0 for Sweden, but I think it'll be a close 2-0 for Sweden. So like even though it's not going to be a blowout, I think we'll have a close game potentially, but it all depends on that first map. If the first map is a blowout, I think the second map will follow. I think Turkey will kind of just lose their edge a little bit and kind of just get stomped over as Sweden gets super aggressive and super confident with their playstyle. I mean, look at the history of some of these players, and in general, the history of Swedish players in FPS titles. Like, obviously, looking at the Counter-Strike scene, the Swedish teams out throughout the history of Counter-Strike have always been good. Looking at brands like NIP or Fnatic, they've always had strong rosters. And even going back even earlier, in the early days, going back to the Swedish scene with teams like SK, like, obviously, there is a history of Swedish Counter-Strike being very strong. So Swedish FPS esports seem to be very dominant. So yeah, it's a new scene, and there's obviously new regions that have developed since, the Counter-Strike era, but the Swedes already looking dominant here. Yeah, we haven't seen them play yet today, but we watched them in the last tournament, and they ran through it pretty easily, it seemed. So I think this is a difficult matchup for Turkey, and as much as I want to support and get the chat behind me, I have to just think about what is likely to happen.
Yes.
And I think that Turkey will just ultimately not have quite enough.
Despite I agree with you completely, 100%. I feel like Sweden has this in the bag. They were the ones that won last time. It does not make any sense for them to not make it to the semis at this point. But the underdog has some bite. We thought at their first group stage performance that we saw early on wasn't really the strongest, but they came back swinging and were able to take down a couple of titans in their group. Now, looking toward the actual match at hand, it is Team Sweden on the defense, starting us off with Team Turkey on attack. And already starting with a hot kill, Mites will find Draken. Now look forward towards that A site, or rotate over to B, one or the other.
Again, Mites goes to the Frenzy in the pistol. We saw this in the previous game as well that we watched them play on Bind. Mites made it work pretty well, actually, with that Frenzy. I think picking up 3 kills in the pistol round that time. Here, though, Mites is going to be lurking away from where the rest of the action is, finally now deciding to go back and join the rest of the team. Again, it's the same hero composition, the agent composition we saw from them previously, with that Jet in play here on the attacking side. They're a man down here on Team Sweden, and the push is going to be coming through onto this A site where there's only one player playing defense. Everything on Noisy's back. And already taking damage, the smoke's coming down. A jump molly and an escape from the brim to wait for the team to group up so they can go for the retake.
They are ready for the retake. There's a long con flank all the way around through the wishbone. The rest of the team here for Team Turkey are on the site. They're grouped up in U-Haul. If there was an orbital strike available, they would be in a very sticky situation. Stormin going to start off hot. Para going to be the one that finds himself in the loading screen. Rip has to swing the corner. Aftershock, somehow he survives it. Now the rest of the team waiting in the wings to push through. The spike is ticking, so they need to act. Rip, he's going to have that fault line turn him down. But oh boy, the Frenzy, it's so good. Mites will mow him down and start the round off hot. But again, have to remind you, pistols can be volatile. We saw how often Scream and company did not have great success on the pistol. So that might just be the same case here. Let's have a look at that replay.
Mites, just a quick 1-2. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, with the Frenzy. So the shotguns are going to come out at least on a few here. Stormin favoring that one with the shorty in Noisy's hands as well. The hero composition on the other side also has a Jet in play. So more Jet play today than I've seen in the last several tournaments I've covered. Kind of interesting to see this heavy Jet favoring coming in from the EU teams. Right off the bat, one of those Jets going to be the one that takes damage. It was on the attacking side here for Team Turkey. Mites got dinked. I believe it was from the Frenzy, so it doesn't do too much damage. I believe the headshot's 70, 78 with the Frenzy. Here they go, though, towards the showers, and Noisy's in a great position. Did they clear it?
Oh.
They soft clear. Able to stick around just a little bit. Tried to get a second pulse out on that shotgun. Not going to have the time. Turco holds, takes down the brim. The Sage repeats, but wasn't able to get them. There's the double peek, but there was multiple players waiting on the other side. Now, Piff Swapping over to the Ghost. The heal's going to come out. Slow Orb coming in as well. Rip going to take down Pith, and it's all falling down to Stormin here. Coming in, rotating through spawn with the Shorty of all things.
I mean, we saw the Shorty used quite well at the beginning of the round. Wasn't able to capitalize on more than one kill, but a kill nonetheless. That's weaponry down, economy down. We're seeing if he's going to be able to get another one. The swing around the corner will find Q-Rax, and now ready. Trying to get that weapon. He's just tried so hard to itch his way forward. He'll end up picking it up, but they know exactly where he is, so he's going to make his way out from U-Haul, potentially the long way around. Or stick to it. It just depends on where he feels like the enemies might be. That's going to be the spy cam taken down. But with that spike ticking, he needs to make his way if he wants to make it away alive. It needs to be through connector. But Turco from the side with the Vandal taking him down. Moving into round number 3, it'll be Sweden that has the full buy. So after a couple of rough 2 rounds, they will have the gunplay to compete now. And you're seeing that reflect in their purchases.
Not able to pick up the round, but he still has a killer mustache, so it's okay. I don't know if you've seen Stormin's mustache. It's got a nice little twirl on the end.
That's why you're a sub.
Yeah, you know, I'm going for I gotta go for that mustache support, the mustache brethren. Here we see more aggressive play coming out from the defense. Looks like they want to peek through. There's the flash, but ready for it is Q-Rax. Nice trade out there from Stormin, so a back and forth volley. But again, aggression over towards Showers. They go for that orb control. Noisy not able to hold it. Turco guns down both. That's the A site completely lost, and they know it. Team Turkey stomping their way, thunderfooting into the A site as the rotate is now coming through from Orb and Stormin.
But it is a 2v4. The spike has been planted, and this the barrier orb's going to pretty much say no soliciting. They have no way to get onto the site without giving away their position, so they will likely save the weaponry. A rough round. This is the round where you get the full buy. You're feeling confident. You feel like you can take them to the bank. Unfortunately, that bank is empty. The vault has no credits in store for Team Sweden. They'll collect some of their utility back around, and that's rough stuff. You know, Team Sweden was hoping they would, you know, even things out 1-2, but for Team Turkey, the repercussions of their economy is they've held onto the weapons for 3 rounds now. That is brutal for Team Sweden. They need to answer back and start knocking down that economy very soon, or they might face like a 7-1 first half, or at least the start of it.
That was actually one of the interesting things in a more recent patch update that came out from the Valorant devs was the economy change with the max cap on money, capping it at 9,000. It was a little interesting to see them make such a drastic economic change so early on into the game's history. You know, usually you would wait far longer to make changes as wide sweeping as those would be. Now, this round is strange. There's rifles coming into the mix, but there's also a Bucky in play and a Sheriff as well. It looks like they want to continue to try and flirt with that orb and Showers and keep going for that orb control. They've just been having a rough go of it as Team Turkey has been prepared for it. Oh, man, wow. A whiff. Draken, you gotta win those. Draken takes Mites down to 16 HP. The good dodge from Mites. Rip with a follow-up as well to take down the Sage. That is a massive missed opportunity here from Team Sweden.
Yeah, and Team Turkey now feeling a little bit better about their possibility. Noisy going to find one with the Bucky, but it's Turco that'll quickly answer back now. A 4v2. And unfortunately, due to the weaponry, may not be a doable scenario. Orb here with the Vandal. Has light armor as well in tow. Can do some damage, but immediately gets smoked off and has to peek into the wide open nothingness. Will find a quick kill onto Rip. Gets dinked down to 86. Now the reposition his fellow teammate Stormin. The last time that they were in this position, they got barriered, orbed off from Vent and had to save the weaponry, but don't want to give up so easily just yet this time around specifically. One in the shower. None in U-Haul. They will be on the other side of the truck, so need to make sure that they traverse carefully. Now Stormin from the other side. It's going to be a quick kill down to the 1v1. The swing around the corner. It'll be right on the spike. Q-Rax finds the very much needed frag and puts 4 on the board here for the side of Team Turkey.
Turkey looking so good right off the bat. And the money, again, is awkward. You know, they're still trying to scrape together a buy. It feels like one round they can buy, and the next round half the team can buy, so they half buy, but then the next round the other half of the team can buy. So they're going to balance out their checkbooks as best as possible, kind of pulling up their money to get the most efficient buy into it. That'll include the Spectre, so there's one SMG, but rifles on the rest. They don't have an AWP presence to match off against Mites. And they do get the camera tag over on Long as well. There's the flash out. Great flash coming in. Storman's going to send a charge down. That's going to go back behind the wall, but it's not really going to do too much as that charge was way too far away from anyone. And Aura had already taken out the breach as well. Rip does backpedal away with very low HP, heading over towards the Sage to get that heal over outside the A site. But it's a 5-on-4. The numbers favoring the attack here as Turkey starts putting a presence towards the B site.
I'm very impressed with their play so far. I mean, we've just started this best of 3, and already they're giving Sweden a run for their money. But we saw once Turkey swapped over to a different half, they were not able to follow suit. So Team Sweden still able to put a couple more rounds on the board and actually put their first one on the board. So we'll see what ends up happening here as they are still defending the site of 4v5 as Team Turkey starts to swarm onto the site. And Orb going to be the first responder. He's got the Spectre until can mow them down, but will the lawnmower have some oil in it? Draken going to find one. They get aggressive, and there's just 4 members. Turkey can't do anything. One last member up in hookah, and all Team Sweden need to do. Divide and conquer. Noisy with the frag. And what looked like to be Team Turkey's round could not execute, could not find the footing, and Team Sweden take advantage.
Finally, Sweden gets themselves on the board. And a peculiar round that they just made it work. They make it work with the lesser hardware, and they upgrade as a result. Thanks for the gifts. As the Turkish side brought the AWP into play last round, and now the Swedes have it in their hands. It'll be Orb who's carrying it, the Cypher. Rifles for the rest. And it looks like Orb might want to go aggressive. No, Orb's just going to hold the line, the crack shot. So if they do decide to push up mid, Orb could be there for the quick shot out of that AWP to take down either the Raze or the Cypher who's currently positioned in that territory.
Team Turkey respecting Team Sweden a little bit more this time around. Splitting up double duty, just trying to gather information. The Jiggle Peek not going to be enough. Orb pays with his life. Almost a quick trade away in A short as they will have to back away. And now the control of A has been relatively lost. In fact, both teams back away, which is a little odd. A lot of respect going out to each other. Team Turkey now, a minute on the clock. Need to decide where they want to go. They've been quite keen on this A site continuously. B did not work out for them last time around. But on the side of Team Sweden, 4 ultimates available. They have a lot that they can work with. Let's see as Team Turkey now get that execute ready, and they're ready with the smokes.
Smoke's down.
Smoke's going to go down. The showstopper ult's been popped. They're trying to use it to clear things out. There's the ult coming in from the brim. The orbital strike also clearing out the U-Haul. Now the defense still has that orbital strike as well. And there it is coming in towards the spike. Draken goes down to Mites. Pith has yet to get on the scoreboard, struggling in the battle against Mites. Noisy also coming through from heaven. The flashbang, no, it's actually the Rolling Thunder coming out, denying the plant for a little while. Bumps the bomb out a little bit. So the spike bumps into the site of Noisy. Noisy just has to slow down this plant. Noisy's going to line up too. The spike still hasn't gotten picked up. Noisy's got a 4-piece. There's one on the flank. Will the ace come through? No. Rip tears the way around. It's right in their hands. They were holding it, grasping it, ready to celebrate. Rip says, no, not going to happen, not today. Even though the read was in from Noisy, understanding that the flank could be coming, it doesn't work out well.
Let's have a quick look at that replay. Beautiful setup and great presence of mind to hold on tight, but unfortunately it was not in the cards for him. Rip will take those cards, yank him from his hands, and now have a 4-round lead entering into the half of the first half. Seeing how Team Sweden can bounce back. Of course, it may be the bounce back in the second half, but they don't want Team Turkey to have too many rounds on the platter. So we can see the aggression here. Draken in position, hoping that this can throw them for a loop. He's got the tailwind to reposition if things get a little scary, so that's kind of one of the uses of Jet. But of course, the other Turkish members are on the other side. They're laying in wait. Mites. Oh, no. He's going to find Draken. He's going to look for that second. Finds two. The headshots are good. And now they'll get those smokes set up. Mites pushing aggressively onto the site. But the spike is still quite far back up in the market. But nevertheless, Team Turkey feeling good.
I know exactly where.
Mites is scary good at this currently. And, you know, they had that play, that aggressive push through the showers, but now the neural theft comes through, so they're going to spot out the brim, the breach, and spawn as well. This round is over as, again, Mites carves apart the defense, but not going to the trusty knives, just using the rifle play. Peeking from spawn is storming through the vents, and Rip makes quick work of him. So now Noisy's the only one left alive. The impressive 4-kill last round didn't result in success. Might get a freebie here on par. No! The dink shot, unable to find the follow-up. Everyone talks about it. That missing hat makes it so hard sometimes to shoot at the Cypher because it's just a little black dot on top of that body. So he hits the first shot, just can't find the follow-up.
If you could see my face right now, I am just beyond belief how, well, yes, you can, how Para was able to just, with the flick there, look at this, boom, just like a robot almost. Not implying he's hacking, not at all, but it just felt so crazy to me to see that flick come out from him. And it shows kind of the prowess from Team Turkey. We talk about them being an underdog, but they're really making Sweden look, you know, a lot to be desired from their play. And we'll see how their setup is here this time around. Still kind of spread out, Team Turkey. Those picks have been what have netted them round after round, and sticking to the script seems to be what's working for them. We're seeing a Bucky for Noisy, so the weapons not really on the docket for Team Sweden, but let's see how they make work of a dire situation.
Did you just call him a bot? That's messed up. I mean, he looks like he's playing pretty well to me. Yeah. Here comes the potential push onto the site. The Jet ult is available, and it has been popped. The Jet on the attacking side, trying to escape the damage coming their way, and the heal will follow up. Nice satchel right into the face of the Cypher. Nade to follow up. Orb was right under the window with that ghost. Might's now backing off, and you've still got the Jet kind of taking control of the showers, and because of that, they're sending everyone away. They're hearing the footsteps over on the B site. Orb's making the call, hey, they're trying to take B. Unfortunately, Orb and his teammates don't really have much to work with. Stormin only had a Bucky. The pistol's not working out well for Pith either. There's the ult coming out as well. Orb spotted on long. The Bucky coming in from Noisy might be able to do some damage as they push through from Hookah. They've got the knives out, and Noisy does get one with a shotgun, but it's actually kind of an understated ace from Qrax, as it's now a 7th round for Turkey. Turkey looking absolutely dominant over Sweden.
Yeah, this is not something that I feel like our analysis could have predicted. I mean, in theory, on paper, Team Sweden, they've got a lot of veterans on their team, not only in CS, but they've got, you know, players that have been competing in Valorant tournaments since the release. And now we're seeing Turkey here just on an absolute tear. And something that we talked about kind of off screen is the difference in ping potentially for Team Turkey. And still, nevertheless, a very impressive performance from them, not taking anything away from their performance, but the ability to just continue to play at such a high level regardless of the situation, regardless of the scenario. Very, very impressive.
Rip taking Pith out of the round. Noisy there with a follow-up, pushed into showers. Noisy's doing everything possible. Rip's been brought back into the play thanks to the ult being popped there by the Sage. There's the peek from Noisy. Gonna find two as the breach charge had pushed them out of position. Mites and Para, though, quickly turn it right back around, as does Rip. Everything on Orb. A 1-on-3, damage dealt to the brim, pretty low on HP. Spike still has not been planted, but it's just a Cypher trying to work their way back into the site. And you can hear there's targets around. There's a tripwire down. There was a cyber cage. The spike does get planted. Immediate follow-up onto Rip. So making it a 2-on-1. Orb hearing the footsteps on site. There's the swing wide from Mites, but there's the trade peek from Para. Well played from Team Turkey yet again.
I respect Orb. He was looking for that second Vandal, already deep in the mag, not having the ammo to kind of go toe-to-toe with the last remaining member on the site. reaching, but a little too far for him to reach. Now, 3 rounds away from the second half, and Team Sweden is not looking like they are in their best shape. 8-1 so far, Team Turkey on an absolute tear. And funny enough, if we recall, it was Team Turkey that swapped to attack and could not make anything work. So maybe expect them to be a little more deadlier on the defense. So of course, the Jet might be, you know, not the greatest defensive unit, but we're already seeing an aggressive move through the showers, and Team Sweden gets punished.
The hardware obviously wasn't all that great coming into the round, so it was Sheriffs and a Marshall even for Draken. Nice tap shooting from Mites onto the first target in spawn, looking for the follow-up. Mites again, just dynamic player on the Jet. 11 and 6. The numbers don't really illustrate just how powerful Mites has been playing. In the rounds where Mites has impact, it's like Mites is doing everything alone. And he's 11 and 6, by the way. Q-Rax right behind him at 10 and 5. That's with an ace factored in. So Q-Rax would have 5 kills. He would have 3 above Para. So, like, obviously, you don't want to discount rounds of high performance from follow-up players, but you can understand, like, this has been a long-standing thing with his team, especially when we watched them in their first series in the day. Mites was very much the top performer and continuing in that trend here on Bind.
Moving on to round number 11. Already Draken punishes someone just kind of holding on in A shorts. Really not was a punish, as it was 3 members swinging down mid trying to get an early frag. That early frag may be the difference maker, but again, a 4v5. We've seen Team Turkey work with less. So how will they finish out this round? We still have 1:10 on the clock. Kind of grouped up towards mid right now. The spike quite behind for safety measure. Turco finding a quick entry, and already it's evened out. We talked about how that early frag might have been great for Team Sweden, but already back down to a 4v4. And the res available, they might bring things back. So still a lot of utility available for both teams. Definitely not out just yet, but with 2 rounds remaining, that utility can only be used one more time.
Oh, that's brutal. Para gets the perfect placement through the smoke. After the res gets popped, Draken falls immediately. Now, it does look like they're going to be heading over towards this B site. You've got the Cypher over here right underneath the window, going to send a dart down, and now Orb desperately needs some help. They're taking out the tripwires. The Cyber Cage has been popped. Somehow Orb gets inside of it, eats some damage from the satchel, but the ult's going to come out on the opposite end of the site. It's Q-Rax who gets 1 and then a second with the rifle, but the ult's going to come out. They're not going to have time for the spike plant after this ult pops. That could be the round. They have to immediately stick it. Does the spike go down in time? It's going to be close. No, they don't get it. So the attack surrender around over to Team Sweden, losing to the clock.
Having a quick look at the replay there. Orb, just great positioning from him. And to be quite honest, this is how that exact location is exactly how Turkey won the other round that Team Sweden won. They grouped up in wood, could not push through. For some reason, they are afraid of hookah, do not want to split double duty, and just Team Sweden know how to defend that angle. And that's why you're seeing Team Turkey play a little bit more towards that A site. And I feel like Team Sweden needs to have a little bit of a read on that. If the rounds that they win are because of B, then they need to group up more on A. You're already seeing 2 members die, and that is crucial, but he's getting a little aggressive.
Yeah, Mites does go down eventually to Piff, using the ult and getting up onto the site. Piff finally getting onto the scoreboard this round as well. It's a 2-piece on the round, so suitable performance, but a little bit late in the game to finally get that first kill up on the scoreboard. Cyber Cage is down. The ult comes out. The Rolling Thunder there to try and stop things. Nice peek from Stormin off the back of that one, but it's still going to be Turkey who comes out on top. So a 10-2 first half from Turkey over Sweden. That is huge because Sweden coming into this one was the heavy favorite to be playing in the finals again. And we've been talking about that all day long, how Sweden has this amazing roster, a lot of skill, a lot of firepower, and Turkey says, that's cute. We do too.
That's cute. Well, imagine the repercussions of Turkey winning the pistol. Like, that might be game over. It's possible. It's not obviously down and out completely, but losing the pistol has way more weight right now than it did before. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, the scoreboard, we talked about it every single game. This game is no exception. The scores do not change. Everything else changes. The operators and the color change, but the scores remain the same. So it is Team Turkey at 10 and Team Sweden at 2. The G2 esports bug below reflects that, but players themselves do not. We are already seeing Mites get an early kill. They're trying to get a little bit more damage in B short. The chase now, as they're trying to funnel on in, they will get that kill to Bara from a distance, but now from behind somehow, they make their way through elbow, and now they have to retake.
Turkey trying to get back into the site, and they do it off the back of that first shot coming in from Turco. There's a player close. It's Draken. Draken just can't deal with the swarm of players, and just like that, snap of the finger, they manage to get onto the site, and they'll go ahead and stick that defuse as well on the spike. 4 players survive in the pistol. Another strong round coming out from Turkey. You guys in chat have been wanting to see them play all day, and now I understand why. Turkey at 11 rounds to 2 over top of tournament favorite Sweden. This is impressive.
This is one of those times now, if we talk a little bit about the strategy, yep, that's what I'm seeing, a force buy. Your odds are stacked up against you. You just lost the pistol. There's a Vandal on Para, for crying out loud. You need to answer back. That's why you're seeing the Marshal. That's why you're seeing the Bulldog, the Spectre, as well as the Sheriff. Just the weaponry for Sweden. They need to force the issue, or they may, not have another chance to do so, at least in this map.
Moving up mid will be Orb with that SMG. You've got Mites around the corner with the Vandal. There's one more playing support in here as well. There's the Molly into that corner. That'll flush him out, but it doesn't matter. Para somehow gets the 1-2 punch. Orb and Noise both going down. Mites finds the follow-up onto Pith. Just like that, the force buy falls apart, and it's down to 2. Stormin with the Sheriff trying to make do over in mid. Draken has a Marshal over on short. Flashbang's going to go out from Stormin. 3 line up, and all start pouring bullets into Stormin. The missed shot from Draken, a follow-up, actually doing significant damage here, hitting 3, but can't find the follow-up on any of them. Mites to get the final kill on the round. 12-2. It looks like Turkey is about to decimate Sweden in the first match of the day.
We talked a little bit about how Sweden breed amazing CS talent. I'm starting to think that Turkey may be a new hotspot. We're already seeing a phenomenal performance come out of them. And it's strange because we saw them in the group stage, and they did not look this dominant, especially up against a team like France, who are already out of the tournament. And so Team Turkey maybe have had the time to re-strategize, rethink, repurpose. But at the end of the day, that the gun skill is going to remain the same. Strategies are always can have the ability to change, but they look like they're fragging out of their mind. So I'm just wondering what has been the difference maker for them coming into this best of 3.
Para able to drop Pith on long. That was the SMG versus the Bulldog. An ADS Bulldog at range losing to the Spectre of all things. Again, the SMGs proving to be powerful as Turco drops Stormin. So another player now forced to watch from the sidelines. The Cypher on B likely to be tested momentarily, and the Jet is coming over to offer up support. So Para and Mites will both be on this B site playing defense should they decide to push through from long.
Still the patient game here for the side of Team Sweden. Again, the force buy. They don't want to be down and out just yet. Para finds himself in a difficult position. He's caught with a spy cam in his hand. Caught red-handed, literally. Here's come Mites with the swing. It's Draken that finds the answer back. Orb trying to get some damage done, but he will find the kill onto Rip. Still now a 2v2. Anyone's gaming now at this point. The Cyber Cage going to be thrown down there. They're looking for the opportunity to push in. That'll be the paint shells that's about to be thrown, as they will call that rotate over towards that A site potentially, as they will funnel in through the defender's spawn. Now Team Turkey likely having to respond. That spike will get planted. Still, there's one on the site, or we'll find that one, and it's down to the 1v1. Q-Rax making his way around the corner. Noisy. A lot of pressure right now onto him. He's only got the stim beacon available, and he's kind of out in the open, not really in a great post-plant position. On the opposite side, it is Q-Rax that is making his way through the vent. But now Noisy in position It is up to Q-Rax to try to figure out where is this pesky Brimstone hiding. And Noise is actually getting a little bit of distance. Now here they come. The swing around the corner, a couple of pre-fire shots, and that might not be enough time to defuse the spike. And Team Sweden stay alive to live another day.
Yeah, Noisy playing that one masterfully. And also just a good read from Q-Rax knowing that there's just no way to win that battle. With the SMG versus the rifle at range, the spike being where it is, the time being what it is, Noisy can just effectively continue jiggle peeking and pulling him off the spike over and over and over again, forcing him to try and take that battle. So a heads-up play from Noisy keeps the team alive. But for how much longer? I mean, it was 12-2. It's now 12-3. Look at the space between their rounds. They lost the first 4, 1-1. Lost 5 in a row, 1-1. Lost 3 in a row, 1-1. You know, they have to, obviously, they need to go on an absolute tear. And based on the way that things have played out this far, it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Mites with the operator. Finds himself on the returning end. A couple of angry bullets from Sweden. It'll be Storm. A quick kill that's found. And now the Cyber Cage is going to be going. They're going to try to push in through. There's a lot of members funneling in through the wood. Para here with the shot. Going to find one. Not unfortunately able to find the second. It's the animation there from the operator. Quick kill from Q-Rax. Going to find another one. The boom bot in hand is not what you want when you're fighting with bullets. And now Rip here trying to get a little bit more damage. Is down to the 2v3. This may be Sweden's redemption. They get that spike planted. And now the retake comes out.
Spam through the wall to try and spot them in sight. There is one on the backside elbow. It's the breach. The Brim about to take that peak. Stormin makes quick work of Rip. And it's all up to Turco. Coming in through spawn. It's a 1-on-3. This round is over. So that early aggressive play from Mites, never mind. Nice shot from Turco. Maybe there's an opportunity here. The wall's going to go down. They're going to try and use that one to stick the spike. The aftershock comes out, or the tremor. Yeah, that's exactly what you expect to happen at that point. They were trying to get the spike to halfway so they could pull off and maybe take the fight. Good heads-up play. I like the thought process there by the Sage, but it just doesn't work out well.
And now Team Sweden, you know, they're holding on. They're barely breathing, but they're holding on. And they're doing their best now at this point. Unfortunately, the eco coming out from Team Turkey. Turkish fans can still be a little calm as there is quite the buffer of rounds that Team Sweden need to go. In fact, they need to go all the way to the overtime round to catch up and turn this back around. But so far, so good. Economy in their favor. Weapons to play with. We've seen Team Turkey do some phenomenal things when the odds have been stacked against them before. So we'll see how that ends up panning out. They don't really have the economy to play right now. The aggressive swing is a quick trade. And the res as well, putting the odds back in their favor. Unfortunately, no res available for the side of Sweden. So let's see how they answer back.
Nice shooting from Stormin, dropping Mites, the top performer. There's still one more on the site. It's the Sage, back behind Tunican, and some support as well from the Cypher. Stormin spots the jump peeking, potentially. There is the nice shot onto Para. Talked about Stormin's mechanics coming into this one. Experience mostly in BR titles, not 5-on-5 round-based competitive shooters. But doesn't seem to affect him regardless. The mechanics still transfer over. Q-Rax going to be tested here on this A site momentarily with just a Sheriff, and Draken easily finds the kill. So it will be just one that remains. It's the Brim across the map as Stormin now finds a 3-kill round Rip rotating in through spawn, but it should be number 5 on the board for Sweden.
They are inching their way ever so slightly. 7 rounds await them if in case Rip is able to magically find 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back. Not going to be written in the cards for him, but still able to deliver that poetic justice as we move into future rounds. Let's have a quick look at that replay. Stormin, just a force to be reckoned with this round. Love that slowdown on the flick over towards Labs. But Team Turkey, yet to fret. They've got their weaponry now. It's the operator in play. We'll see how it ends up panning out for them. Of course, the defense not really boding out well for Team Sweden, of course, but this might be kind of the turnaround that we will see Team Turkey finish up with.
There's the ult getting called out there by Draken. Draken taking a little bit of damage, has to be careful. Wasn't able to make it work. So the knives came out, and the knives don't work. The molly is there, and Draken actually dives back into it, thinking it's closer in the corner than it actually was. Using that cloud burst, though, to get around the corner on the opposite side. So at least Draken will survive. But Draken's low on HP and continues to take the battle, has no support, so has to just try and fight his way out of the situation. And unfortunately, he fights his way into a coffin. It'll be a 5-on-4 with a minute left. The port does come through for the res, but there's a quick 1-2 over on the B site as Para and Mites take down Noisy and Stormin.
Yeah, this will be the call now to rotate in through mid, but they will have to funnel their way back around because the spike's in market, but Bar knows that something's up, and now we'll start to rotate through and try to get a couple of those cheeky little flanks early on. They'll pick up that spike, and you will try to hold on, and little does he know there is one walking in through the sand. He can hear those tippy little toes, but it's Pith that'll come out on top with the refrag back around, getting that frag for his team. Now they will start to make their way over towards that B side. It's a couple of quick kills. Draken able to find 2 crucial frags. And now the 2v2. They hear a couple of those footsteps in labs. The spike's going down. Crucial moment here for Team Sweden. The showstopper available for the side of Team Turkey, but Draken in a great position will find one. Up to Turco now, and it's Pith from the flank. And Sweden stays alive, 12-6.
Sweden keeps on fighting to keep themselves up there. Right now, it's like they're treading water in the middle of a storm. It does feel like eventually they're going to run out of that stamina, but they continue to fight regardless. So Turkey, right on the edge, right on that finish line, just needs to inch their way across.
Who will see better?
But it'll be another round likely with saves, as the money should not be good enough for a buy. You can see some aggression coming out here on short. A 3-player push through short. They've already picked off one. That was one coming in through mid. So they spotted one on the early peek from Hookah. Meanwhile, there's a lot of action happening back by the spike. They've got spike control, but they don't really have a lot of firepower to continue to hold it. So they'll pick off one, but there's Draken on the backside of that play, going up over top of the Sage wall that was down. And now they're just going to saunter on over towards the A site and get the spike planted.
You know, that was a situation where Team Turkey, I believe they 4-spot there, or at least they did a little bit of a lighter buy. We haven't really touched on this too much, but it really is their ability to use SMGs to a whole new level. Unfortunately, not really boding well for them in this round, but we've seen them on the attacker side use them to quite great effect. And it kind of begs the question as to what kind of option can SMGs offer. We're seeing Para here get a quick frag onto Pith. You know, switch that weaponry over to the Vandal and back away. Save the weaponry. See another day. Get into a little bit of a sneaky position. But yeah, back to that question. What kind of option can these SMGs offer? Not really seen them used to great effect in, you know, to be quite honest, NA and EU. They're pretty much sticking to the rifles, but Turkish make SMGs look quite interesting.
I mean, you definitely see the SMGs come out, but not to this effect. You don't see them utilized as well at long range, which it feels like the Turkish side has done really well with. So there's the tripwires coming down over on the B site. You can see Para looking for another one to lay down. Those are difficult to deal with if you're trying to come through from Hookah, and it does look like they want to go that direction initially, as there is a lot of bodies grouped up right now back behind that wall. So the wall comes down, and the push starts to come through towards the B side. You've got the Breach back in mid, about to fight off against Mites, who's playing up inside Hookah, playing the off angle from the tunnel that enters through. There's the Breach charged, going towards the backside of Hookah. They know one's here. Mites tries to dash away, but can't get it off in time, so ends up falling to Stormin, who's really come alive in the last few rounds.
Para in a great position now, using that camera to see if anyone else is making their way onto the site. The patience is great, finding a great headshot, lining it up, and now it's going to be a crucial member, like you said, out and down for the count. Para rotating back down, trying to get that spray through the wood, but Turco going to try to assist him there, not going to be on the positive end of that. Now, the rest of the team still holding fast. The spike's located in mid. Now they'll pick it up from the market and make their way potentially towards the A site. The portal is going to be called. And now from the side of Para and Co., they need to prepare for this A-site push, but I like the call. They bait the portal, but Para is answering back just as well in position.
I love this position. Just wait. We saw this from Carlos earlier today. They peek it, but it doesn't matter. Para still gets the second despite the fact that Orb was ready. That's 3 on the round. Pith at least has the res, so Draken will be brought back into action. The ult comes down. It's very well placed, but it's not enough to stop the demise of Pith and Noisy, and the final one comes through. Turkey stuns Sweden in map 1, picking up the victory and going up 1-0 over the Swedish side. Impressive stuff here on Bind.
I'm expecting the Turkish chat to just go crazy right now at this point. Team Sweden, very obviously the favorites coming into this one. They won the last European Brawl. Now stumped map number 1 up against Turkey. Maybe Team Sweden needs to take those training weights off for map number 2, or they've let them go on for too long, and Turkey will take that one as well. But we'll have to kind of wait and see what that map will be. Either could be Haven, could be Split. Depends on what Sweden decides to pick. If they want to kind of keep it fruity and fresh, they may decide to go to Split, use that Viper. I'm sure that they're comfortable with it, and create some interesting opportunities. Because Split is kind of a cheesy map. You know, if you're really good at playing it, you can stun a lot of teams because they don't like practicing it. They don't really like playing on it. But we'll see what ends up being the case. But congrats on Turkey for map 1, but we still have a ways to go before we call it a day.
Now, looking at the rest of the bracket as well, if you missed the earlier game, Team Scream beat Germany 2-0, Team UK beat France 2-0. Team Poland just came through with a victory over Finland 2-1. So even though Finland went through groups undefeated, they weren't able to walk away out of the quarterfinals. So whoever wins this will be facing off against Poland, who looks to be a really strong team as well. So we've got Team Scream and Team UK up in the other semifinals. Really interesting bracket breaking down thus far. But we are going to throw things to a very quick break when we come back. Map number 2. Will it be Turkey surprising us with a 2-0 victory, or will we be going to a third map? We'll find out then. Stay tuned.